Welcome to the first Stay Grounded podcast. As you can see, we're sitting here with four fine gentlemen. Some that are getting their rears kicked with this hunting season, but
I'm one of those.
oh, says the kid that's killed the 185 this year.
No doubt.
Yeah. Never mind. There is two over here.
I haven't punched a single tag.
I don't think I've seen my tag yet.
It's funny. Well, we've had a record season so far. I mean, at least me and Jesse have.
Yeah, we got some momentum to keep that up, though.
November 21st, Illinois Gun opens tomorrow. Tanner has no gun tags. I have gun tags. We also had a deer show back up tonight after being gone for 2 weeks that Tanner's kind of kicking, not himself, but the dirt for.
Yeah, I've been trying to kill that deer. We've hunted him like, I don't know, 15 times probably at this point, jumping back and forth from Illinois to Iowa, and he's been my target here in Illinois. And we scouted him earlier in the season and just didn't end up catching up with him. But I think he went on lockdown somewhere else because he just finally showed up at the end of November, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. But moral of the story is, hopefully we have a better podcast coming up for you for Illinois Gun.
Yeah.
But I think from this point on, I think we should do a little bit of an introduction, being that it's the first podcast.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, this was kind of a on a whim idea. All the stuff sat in the box over there for 3 months after I was like, oh, let's start a podcast, you know. But the actual channel itself, the Stay Grounded video format channel did really, really well and absolutely took off. In 90 days, we did 323,000 views, which is like
A lot.
crazy, like way more than I would have ever expected out of this. Thank you, Tristan has been working his tail off putting these videos together, and me and Jesse have been working our tails off shooting these deer.
And all the work that goes into it before.
Well, that too.
Years and years of passing deer and, you know, getting them on film and food plots, but no.
A lot more goes into it than
Yeah,
you could ever describe.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say the goal of this podcast is just to kind of talk a little bit about ourselves and what we have going, what our plans are maybe.
The
kind of for the
INTROCAST.
future. Yeah, the INTROCAST. I like it.
It's like the first official podcast where somebody gets to take a deeper dive into us as
Who we
people,
are.
you know. And I think that's what this whole format style of podcast will be about is, you know, obviously they get to hear the deeper dive into the stories and the strategies and, you know, really how deep we dive into actually trying to get these deer to do what we want them to do. So, and then when it all comes together, you know, obviously when we're on cloud nine and somebody shoots a deer, the goal is to get here as fast as we can and give you guys the raw emotion of, all right, here's what happened, guys. You know, be on the lookout for this video. So
Behind the scenes look.
yeah, it'll be super fun.
It's
But
like a teaser before the video, but it's like
Pretty much.
it's like a real-time teaser.
Yeah. Yeah, live. Not quite live, but, you know. We
Semi-live.
can't take them with them on the hunt.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, we definitely take them with them on the hunt. We just can't take the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
and there's only so much you can say in the hunting video, and then there's like so much that goes into, like, especially Jesse's 190 killed. There's 4 years of history, and to put that into a 25-minute video, it's tough to show the actual depth that goes into that. But let's talk a little bit about how all this started, Tristan. It was kind of just random, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very random. I was selling real estate at the time. I had no other jobs, and Tanner and I kind of got connected through Facebook Messenger. I was looking for some property for my buyers and got in a Facebook group, and he said, yeah, I got a farm for sale. I hit him up, whatever. And he ended up calling me that night after I researched him a little bit to see who he was. I saw he deer hunting. He's about my age. I was like, let's see what else comes of this. And he called me that night at 11:30, probably I think it was a Wednesday night.
Random.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I have an idea. He's like, you ever wanted to start a hunting show? I was like, I've been a part of a few of them. And sure enough, next morning, I think probably it was before daylight, we showed up to film our first ever episode on the Crumbolds farm. And I mean, it happened in a matter of, well, probably about 7 hours. We didn't sleep much in between. And it just got right rolling. So.
Yeah, and then the next day, I hadn't even told Jesse yet, which he is half partners in on this and had no idea that it was even going to be created. And one day I just invited Jesse out to a farm, and
No, you didn't even do that. You just sent me a pin and say, hey, can you meet me here at 8?
yeah,
And there was no invitation. I just going along, looking at the scenery. And I come around the corner, I could see Tanner about 100 yards before the entrance of the farm. And I see this guy kind of slouched off to the side, like curled up, taking some shots, and Tanner sitting on – the shot is Tanner on the fail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, gosh, what are we getting ourselves into here? One, I'd never been to the farm. Two, Tanner hadn't had a cameraman with him all year yet. So the idea hadn't even been sprouted to me. I come pulling in the farm and get out of my truck. I think I come honking the horn in.
Yeah,
Definitely
you
trying
did.
to mess the clip up.
yep,
Yeah.
Get out, come walking down. Tanner's like, hey, this is Tristan. I said, hey, Tristan, how's it going? Oh, good. And Tanner goes, we started a YouTube channel today. Did you know that? I said, I do now. He goes, all right, well, that's what we're going to roll with from now on. Tristan's our camera guy. I said, all right.
Let's do it.
I would say there you've developed as a bigger part, but
Yeah.
started out as, hey, about 14 hours after Tanner and Tristan met. They went from Iowa to
Illinois.
central Illinois
Yeah.
in
24 hours, really.
no, it wasn't even that. I mean,
Yeah, I
if
mean-
you talked at 11, I mean, it was 20 hours
Yeah.
Well,
after a day of filming.
when
Yeah.
you showed
Yeah.
up to the farm, I instantly was like, obviously you showed me some of the clips and stuff, and we did some filming and stuff, and then he put together the Crumbolt's farm video, and as soon as that got put together, it really shined a light on the potential we had, being that we are young in the hunting industry. There's a lot of very, very well-known people who have had unbelievable accomplishments. Lee Lukoski, Josh Bomar, all these giant people who have run the game for so long. And there is not a younger generation of people that are coming in and, learning from some of these guys who are so successful, but also paving their own path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's really cool about us being young and so tight-knit. So then that kind of rolls into like, okay, the name part of it was Stay Grounded. Well, the stay part of it was obviously me and Jesse's last name. But the grounded part of it is where I think the deeper section of the name actually jumps in there because of how much we, one, work the ground, but two, are grounded together, out of the wicked ways of the world in a group of guys who are all goal-minded toward the same thing, and that's killing big deer.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that it was super fitting, and we rolled with it.
Yeah. Rolled with it fast.
Yeah.
And the audience and the people that watch this stuff showed us that it was much
fast
faster.
enough that somebody got it tattooed on them less than a month
yeah,
after.
talk about that.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. So Tristan FaceTimes me one day,
At the lake.
and he was at the lake, and he's out there partying, having a good time, hanging out with his buddies, and he's like, "Hey, man, I want you to meet somebody." I'm like, "Okay." So he shows me this guy. I'm like, "Hey, man, talking to him on FaceTime," and Tristan's like, "I gotta show you something." I'm like, "Okay, all right, show me." So he shows me this guy's chest, and on his chest is a freaking Stay Grounded logo.
That right there.
Tattooed. That logo right there.
Yeah.
Tattooed on this guy's chest.
And not little, not like a
No,
little
the
like
whole
pec
chest.
It was like his entire left pec.
Well, and this was a month after
Not
this
even.
even became an idea.
Not even.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
that was the number one, like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
this is going to
Weird.
be something. The logo speaks for itself. The name speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's just taken off since then.
Well, I mean, our love for deer hunting and our passion for the outdoors is rooted in Christianity, grounded together as a team. I mean, the logo does speak for itself. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And the name just is just fitting as well. And honestly, it all fell into place because I felt like it was God's plan, 100%.
Yeah, it took something to pull all this together the way we did, and it's how fast as we did, especially with wide load first couple weeks of the season going
7
down
days of
and-
hunting. That's
yeah.
all it took, and we were successful on that. And that was like a big jump in the channel for us. Like that's our best video,
Yeah.
like so far, and that was a huge step in the right direction for the channel itself, and
Yeah.
really put us on the map because that deer is just such a spectacular deer. We're gonna do an actual whole podcast on that deer because it was super
Yeah.
crazy,
story.
but there was
Yeah.
also some controversy and some stuff that we want to address, and
the aftermath. Yeah.
yeah. But and then this season, the day before I killed Wadlow, Jesse had knocked down that big deer in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proceeds to come to Illinois and shoot a 190.
Yeah.
It's funny how things unfold. That was like the culmination of, and we could probably do a podcast on that too, but that was the culmination of like crossing your fingers
Yeah.
on a property that, yes, you have control of what's happening on the property, but you don't have control outfitting on almost every side.
Yeah.
And also bad neighbors on the sides that aren't outfitting. Like it was just, that deer was skating by the skin of his teeth.
Right.
But that's what happens when it works out correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Is something like when you see the potential in an animal so young and you're able to or take that information and just like float him through and not really pressure your farm because of him and like virtually pay for a farm and then not touch it.
Yeah.
It's hard to do,
yeah.
but then when it comes down 4 years later and
Yeah.
he's a 190-inch deer and it all works out how it needed to,
Yep. 100%.
that'll probably be another podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot of exciting podcasts coming up. Some good special guests and all that.
We're definitely going to be spending some time in this room, which I'm super excited for. Not only just about our own deer, but we got friends and family that have been successful this year, and we got a story of a 232-inch deer that nobody knows about in Missouri, and we got some really special things to have a conversation about, and obviously bring in some guests and get to know some of these people in the industry a little bit better through this style of filming.
A little bit of education, a little bit of entertainment, just a good mixture.
It's a more detailed version of all the videos, basically.
Yeah. I mean, well, people will be able to learn a lot from this, I think, as far as talking about strategies, and especially getting into like spring when we're going through farm management stuff and all that good stuff. So
I definitely wish we would have started this sooner before season, because I think a lot of the conversations had outside of the podcast, like if we were to film the stuff that we talked about preseason about our goals and manifesting what we wanted to do in our success, and then
what's already happened,
for it to come together like it has, like the phone calls, I wish they were recorded, like just all of us talking back and forth about how excited we were for the season and to take this to another level. And then now here we are. We started the podcast channel, a whole second YouTube channel. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers on the first channel, which is crazy to do in like 90 days, like unbelievable. So we're growing at a rate that we honestly couldn't keep up with. And I think we should talk a little bit about what we got coming for December. People have been reaching out to us about a bunch about, obviously people getting the tattoo logoed on themselves, but also we haven't released anything, and we've been wearing it in our videos. If people have been paying attention to it, they're saying, where can I get the hat? Where can I get the shirt? Well, very soon we will be releasing our first hats, and there will be only a limited supply. What do we get? 100 and
barely 100.
Yeah, 108.
And the goal is to have them out by December. We're in the process of building everything ourselves. So that comes with
time.
It might be easier for them to buy a hat or a shirt than getting them the logo tattooed on them.
It might be a little less painful.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or permanent.
I mean, that's our goal, is to make
Or permanent.
it smooth and less painful.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be a whole nother spinoff of this. And we're even probably going to do some like giveaway stuff, like maybe some hunt giveaways and some merch giveaways. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to interact with the viewers and stuff. But I think the podcast style of filming is going to be a unique way for the people who watch our stuff but want more context to the thought process and to the emotions. We get to come in here and like actually have descriptive conversations on what actually happened.
Lay it all out,
Yeah. So
Well, for some of the people that may not even know about our YouTube yet, it might be good to talk a little bit about who we actually are, maybe a little bit of the backgrounds with everybody, and how we got to this point.
I mean, you have the biggest background as far as like in the industry. You've been with some of the biggest names in the industry, and have obviously learned a lot from that. And some of that is used in what you're doing with us. Actually, probably quite a bit of it. We obviously have a little bit different editing style. We like to make our videos a little different than most people do. But talk a little bit about just some of your recent.
Just give us a Tristan backstory.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You grew up.
We'll start off like this. Mr. Williams, because this is a podcast, you got to ask questions. Mr. Williams, if you had to describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. I mean, with my profession, I would say creative.
Okay, good enough. Now give us your backstory.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I started, I was going to college for something completely unrelated to this industry and dropped out. And
The typical college story.
yeah, dropped out. Yeah, I mean, anymore. I started just a photography, videography company and didn't know. I actually started the company before I even owned a camera. So I was just kind of self-taught, taught myself and rolled with it, trying to make money. I enjoyed making money rather than spending it on college. And I don't know, it led me down the real estate field quite a bit and some business stuff. But anyway, I ultimately ended in Iowa. I grew up in east of Kansas City, Missouri, and I got a call from, actually first was Andrew Flair, which is kind of crazy, came full circle.
Yeah, we went out there and filmed with him this
Film
year.
on his ranch, yeah. So he was trying to get me to move to Nebraska, be a full-time camera guy. And shortly after, I got a call from Josh Bomar, which at the time was kind of the whole, everybody knows about the Nebraska trials with him. And I didn't know if it was something I wanted to do or not. I turned it down actually 3 times, I believe. And then he talked me into it. 4th time, I was like, you know what, I'm going to drop everything. I moved to Iowa to film his YouTube show full-time. So went through that for about a year, I'd say. And we kind of then parted ways. And I started back into selling real estate. Stayed in Iowa, and then here in the meantime worked with the Lindsay Way, which was another show. Super good people there.
It's Baby G.
It's Baby G.
There he was. It's Baby G.
That's one of my favorite memories.
That's
really.
that's
There's
like
some,
the iconic Lindsay Way clip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody knows.
When you
him
say
for
Lindsay
Goliath.
Way, you just think of Goliath and Baby
Yeah.
G. Like that's just
Yeah, getting to see all the spots filming on that farm, they're great people. I truly enjoyed working for them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of led me here. I was essentially jobless, I guess, at the time. I was still selling real estate, but that's when Tanner and I got connected. So, and luckily that was through real estate. We happen to have that in common. So,
Yeah, which fits the ground part.
yeah, oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about ground too, Brock.
Oh, yeah.
Brock's got one of the best farms in Iowa. I'll put it up against a lot of farms. Now, granted, it's 1,400 acres, which is a massive contiguous farm for Iowa, and most of it is like CRP, like just the prime habitat for deer. So, talk a little bit about how you ended up in Iowa. Obviously, we have a little bit of backstory with me and you grew up together, only 30 minutes apart, and we got to play baseball together and stuff growing up. And so I knew Brock, knew of Brock for a long time. But, yeah, just give us a little rundown. How'd you end up in Iowa?
Yeah, it took a little bit to get up there. We bought that property in 2020, and I always told Tanner, I was like, man, let's go shed hunt this place, dude. He's like, nah, we won't do it. We won't do it. One year he finally he's like, all right, let's go up there. 15 minutes on the farm that first morning.
Mm-hmm.
It is bum cold that morning, dude.
It was cool.
It was terrible.
And we went to this like little patch of beans. I'm like, there's no way we're finding any sheds on this.
You're looking through the bathroom window of the house.
Yeah. I mean, we could see the house. It was right behind the house. And we pull into this field, and all of a sudden, we're like driving in the side-by-side, and I hear, I'm like, what the heck was that? And I look over at Brock, and he's like about to pass out. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I can't see. Hold on. He gets out of the side-by-side, and he grabs this just giant antler. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, what did we do? Like, I still had, like, boogies in my eyes. I was wiping them out and everything.
We're sleeping on air mattresses that didn't have any air in them.
And was that, like, your first shed?
Yeah, that was the first shed I've ever found in my life.
Oh my gosh.
And the motto usually is, like, if you find a shed in the first 5 minutes of shed hunting,
You're not finding nothing.
you should just turn around and leave. That's not how this day went.
No.
We went on to find 30 or 40 more sheds off the side-by-side, just driving around. We didn't even cover a quarter of the farm.
We didn't even walk. The place is so big, you could ride all day, and you could never ride the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many places for those sheds to hide. I know we didn't even find a quarter of.
So much CRP out there for them to
Yeah.
hide in. I mean, there's almost 500 acres of CRP on that farm.
It's crazy.
And dang good CRP.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
especially
It's
this
getting
year.
better.
Yeah, this year it looks really nice.
Yeah.
After all the burns.
Yeah, I mean, we did like 200 acres of controlled burns this year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just me and Brock out there. And I remember the fire department coming in, and like it's the middle of the night, and
bird band.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
been in
it's
a
the-
burn ban for 2 weeks.
Haven't had rain in a month.
we're out,
Perfect. Crispy.
we're out there just lighting them up, and we were running a disc around the field that made basically barely a fire break. It just slowed it down enough for us to hit it with a snow shovel.
Oh gosh.
Oh, it was a disaster, but it worked out really well, especially for this season. I mean, the
Oh, yeah.
enhancement on just the height and thickness of the grass and the natives coming out and killing off the invasives, man, it was burning is definitely a big benefit to your grasses.
Population of everything, you know.
And now
the
we have
deer-
more holding power.
Yeah, the deer love it. I mean, it's insane what good grass does on a farm.
100%. But yeah, I mean, so starting off on your farm, you know, we found all those sheds, and instantly I looked at you and I'm like, we got to do something with this. Like, there's monsters here. We have got to do something with this. You cannot let this place just sit here. And it's good that it sat there as long as it did, because it got these deer to just be so comfortable there. And they've just lived there their whole life. They've never had pressure. They never had to leave. But also one unique part about that was your farm was still raw. Like, there was so much potential. Like, I'm driving around and I'm like, oh my gosh, we should do this. Oh my gosh, we should do that. Oh my gosh, this. Oh my gosh, that. But I was not even a resident at the time, so I wasn't even thinking about it for myself. So we tried.
I don't think I was even a resident at the time.
You weren't, no.
No, I wasn't even moved up into Iowa yet. I didn't move there until that next year.
It's crazy what big deer do.
Yeah.
And you weren't even into deer hunting.
No.
You were like, yeah, I love the duck hunt. Duck hunting was
Yeah.
your thing.
The quacker stacker.
And, you know, I think we opened new doors that you didn't even think were going to be something that you wanted to, you know, you honestly, until me and you shot the first deer together, like, I don't know that you really were like, thought you would get excited about it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I remember, dude, like, when you shot your deer, walking up to him, I'm like, you know, looked over at you, had the biggest smile ever. Like, you were.
He's screwed for life.
Yeah, I knew we had done something dangerous for
Caught
you.
the bug for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after finding that antler was really like the big moment for me where I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this seriously. That next season, you know, I went and worked at an outfitter here in Illinois. Did that for a year, and that helped me a lot with learning about how deer move and what they do and what food they hit at certain times of the year, and that did help. And after that, I was like, all right, it's time to
Go to the farm.
go to the farming.
Take my knowledge elsewhere.
Yeah.
Well, and part of that had to do, you had to step up big in the farming aspect because, you know, obviously your uncle farms up there, but your dad going on deployment for how many days?
430 something days. He just got back.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's a big ask.
It's a pretty good sized deployment.
Yeah, but you know, you got up there and you took care of things, and now he's back. I mean, it honestly didn't feel like it was that long,
No,
to be honest with you.
I'm sure it felt like forever for him, but
Yeah.
with everything going on, it kind of went by in a blink. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we've all just kind of like, it's pretty cool for him to come back and see the hard work we've done on the farm and the change. Just, you know, he loves to pheasant hunt. We've got pheasants on the farm now. I've been seeing them. We've been seeing cubbies of quail. Like, just the all around wildlife, you know, has just been enhanced since we decided to take this serious. And I think that's pretty special. I hope he goes out and he shoots some of these pheasants and gets to reap from some of our hard work, because it's worked out well for us with deer. You know, sitting this year, me and you sitting in that grass, man, they appear out everywhere. And that didn't even used to be a thing. Like your farm, your grass, you used to mow it twice a year, try to keep the invasives out of it and take care of the CRP program. But now we have the ability to burn it. And when we burn it, it just grows back. I mean, unbelievable. And that gives them so much more cover and safety. And anyway, so we ultimately can hold more deer on the farm now. Yeah.
Grass is useful, actually.
Anyways,
Well, let's take a little dive into your background a little bit.
yeah, we can. I kind of had the same start as you. We grew up in an outfitter. Eagle Outfitters. It was
Dad's.
it was Toby Stay, our dad's from. I want to say he started that in '99.
98, I think.
No, I think he got it for Crawford in '98. I
Oh.
think he started that in '99. And then obviously that was pretty notable for how Midwestern hunting was like catching fire, and he was there through the Golden Triangle epidemic that is still ravaging Illinois, West Central Illinois, but got us. I mean, that's what we grew up in. We grew up in a hunting camp literally we're raised in a hunting camp from. I was born in 2003, and
I was born in 4.
yeah, 2004, and we were 2011 before he was fully out of it, and but that also gave us a lot of hands-on, learning with whether it was deer or our people skills, which led to my real estate. But being able to just be around people and just
From all over the world.
yeah, from all over the world, different personalities, different aspects on what a trophy deer is like. It's just you got that experience to be able to take that with you for whatever scenario might come at you whatever random day.
Yeah, because we grew up and you had to be social. With 50 guys in your house throughout most of deer season, I mean.
You're greeting 50 guys out the door at 3 a.m. like,
Adios.
see ya, I'm going to watch Little Einsteins and drink chocolate milk.
Yeah, we used
And
to
then
do
I'll be
that.
sitting there when you roll back in. But no, anyways, so we got out of outfitting in 2011 and got a couple of our own leases. And then that's kind of when the playing with the ground part really kicked off for us. We started doing our own food plots. And
Dad started laying guys.
yeah, Dad started the real estate company with Scott and Donnie in 2009. And that's grown exponentially from 3 guys. I think we're at almost 30 brokers now. But we got to start playing with ground there once we started having our own individual farms, and we got a tractor, and Dad would take us around with us on clover mowing days. And there's a picture of us somewhere in a dirt plot with a bucket seeder that on an 8-year-old kid that's like this does not work. But we really got to dig our heels in and figure out how to hunt ourselves rather than just being around hearing what people's experiences were. So I think we attempted a YouTube channel and
Staying outdoors.
staying outdoors. We attempted that back in
For the keyboard warriors, they can go find our old videos and see how much we've really come up
What was
since
that,
then.
2000?
But I think a lot of that's Tristan.
Yeah.
I think that was like 2015 or 16. I don't know that I was driving yet. I don't think I was. We were still because when I shot Henry, Dad had to come pick us up.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we gave our shot at that, and it didn't. I mean, we just didn't know what we were doing. Not that the quality was bad. We just didn't know what to do with it once we had it.
And I think we've really come up a lot since that. It's just as far as our woodsmanship goes, and as far as our opportunity to kill.
You
deer
don't
period.
say.
Yeah.
Well, we thought we were the greatest hunter in the world back then.
Yeah,
If I look at myself now, I'm like, think back to some of the hunts I was doing. I was like, what was I thinking? Some of the deer, I was like, oh, I might shoot that deer. It's like, that's a 3-year-old.
I still think that nowadays. Sometimes.
I sometimes have to talk you off the ledge.
That's
But
funny.
no, after that, I actually, after I graduated 8th grade, didn't do high school. I did online school and did 4 years of high school in 2 years. All because I liked hunting. That's literally the only reason I didn't do high school is because I liked hunting too much. And so when I graduated when I was 16, and I started my own food plot company, which was where Staying Outdoors ended up at. I did at one point, my highest point was 30 farms, and I was just doing complete total deer management, make sure that when somebody come out and hunt, I was doing box blinds and food plots was the main thing, but my goal was just make sure when people that Dad was selling ground to come out and they bought ground and then it hits them and they're like, oh wow, I have to come out here 5 different times in the summer to make sure everything looks like the way I want to do it. Mm-hmm. They're like, I have 3 businesses and I can't do that, and that's where I come into play. So for a 16 to 18-year-old kid, it did all right. It was a lot of liability, hauling a tractor around in my little truck, but made it work. And then when I turned 18, I did my real estate school. Now I've been selling real estate for, I think I'm a year and a half into selling real estate.
Really, that long?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
September, yeah. And now I'm not even just in Illinois. I got my Iowa license. So I'm selling in Illinois and Iowa. Just moved to Iowa this year. It's been
It's funny how we've all drifted to Iowa
It's not funny. It's exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we got over there and saw.
We all kind of have
deer.
the same story, though. We grew up in other places. You know, we've all fumbled around and random stuff before we found where we needed to be, and
Grew up doing it, all of us, but now we're doing
We
it
get
in
to
the
do it
best place
together.
in the world.
We did it a little bit, and then when we got to where the canvas was blank and all the tools were there,
Yeah.
it's hard to make us not do it. I mean,
yeah. Now we have like, all the stuff that we dreamed to have when we were younger, to be able to go to these farms and make them a better place when we leave, and I think that's pretty cool. We definitely use that to our advantage, and I think it speaks for itself. Our hard work in the springtime and the off season, because now these deer are reading the script and we're doing what we said we were going to do, not just speaking it and it not happening. Like
we used to speak it a lot.
Yeah. Hypothetically, this deer.
if we did this and we were sitting here at this time, this would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I think you missed a little part there of when you were working for me whenever I owned a landscaping business.
All right, there was a reason I skipped over that. No.
Well, I got this random idea when I got out of high school. Actually, we were still in high school, that I wanted to mow yards. I thought that was just the route to go, and I used that to buy my first bow, and I paid for that with my own money after the first year, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a killing off of this. That was not the case. The people that do landscaping make a lot of money. Props to you, because there's a lot of them that do. But my 30 yards a week wasn't cutting it.
It's also a saturated industry for competition.
Yeah, there's
gotta
a
be-
lot. The monopoly power of being somebody who mows lawns is
Yeah.
not very high. So, but yeah, so we did a little bit of that, and that taught me some work ethic stuff. But I saw Jesse get into the taking care of farms and that type of stuff, and then that kind of led to me learning from him. A lot of trial and error myself, because I'm the younger brother. I don't want to ask him for help, and I'd break a lot of stuff. I still do.
You don't say.
Yeah, I break about everything I touch.
Yep.
But there's been so many different routes that I have gone with that stuff. I don't just do one thing. Like, we'll do dozer and excavation work. Some of that's subcontracted and it's a management fee. Some of that is me personally running it. We've got a skid steer now, do some mulching, and wherever it is that I need to improve a farm and make money on, I think I can do it at this point. It doesn't matter if it's me doing it or somebody I know. I think I got the connections to do it. So, and then we started the Miscanthus business together, which has,
That's not been a bad idea.
yeah, that's been awesome. I found this random tree planter in the middle of a crep farm, and I was like, hey man, would you sell me this tree planter?
Shout out to Zach.
Thank you, Zach Van Hook. And he's like, $1,500, it's yours. And that was more than the job I was doing for him. I'm like, man, I'm not even going to make any money on this job, but at least I got a tree planter. Had no idea what I was going to do with this. And I'm like, you know what? Let's plant Miscanthus. And like in the first probably week of having it, we bought it right at the perfect time to do Miscanthus. Mm-hmm. First week of having it, I paid for it and maybe even doubled my money. And I was like, oh gosh, there's something to this. And last year we did over 100,000 rhizomes.
I think we did over 150,000.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I mean,
sure we did over 150,000.
We did so many Miscanthus rhizomes that like we were running in the dark and in the morning early, and like it was.
We were running out of Miscanthus.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're doing, and that really took off for us. So I don't really do one thing. I do
Everything.
everything.
I feel like we're all that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wherever there is to make a buck, I'm there,
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then we did the feed business. Me and Brock
Yep.
did that. We started a feed delivery business. I ordered a bunch of feeders out of Kansas, and those came in, and we sold every single one. And then whatever we didn't sell, which was very few, we could have sold those too.
We needed some for our own stuff.
Yeah, we needed some for our own stuff. So the goal of that was to buy all those and then pay off our own, and it worked.
Yeah, it started off with saying, "Oh, we'll keep these 10 for our farm."
Now we got 3.
And then we ended up with 3.
No, it ended up with Brock saying, Hey, can you make another order of those feeders, please?
But me and Brock started that, and now we've got farms on feed programs that are, supplemental, but also, beneficial to your deer to help with diseases and, nutrients and vitamins and all the things your deer needs to be, healthy and happy and well fed.
One of the perks of Iowa's regulations.
Yeah.
You get to have a healthy, happy deer herd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think feeding on the off season and preseason benefits your growth on your deer's antlers when they stop growing their body faster. I think they can start putting that to their rack, but also I think we're gonna see like these deer in about 4 years that have grown up off of eating these on the off seasons and eating these on the preseasons. I think we're going to start to see these crazy genetics at 4 years old. We're going to start seeing these like, oh my gosh, like the actual benefits of all the money, all the effort in feeding. And I'm super excited to do that. But we built this system that basically feeds these deer. I mean, you can do it efficiently in bulk and not have to go back there with 1,000 bags and pour them into the feeder. You just drive back there with a grain bucket and fill it right up. And, we got everybody on monthly fill ups, and it really works out well. So it's kind of like a supply and demand. But yeah, that started this year, and we got to feed our farms and stuff. So yeah,
I think we really saw the benefits on Brock's this year, Crumble's farm.
I agree.
Yeah. Not that it was a good year, but last season, it was dry, but I don't think we really saw the full effect until shed season. I knew we had deer die, but when shed season was like a graveyard. And then this year, it's literally been one deer.
Yeah.
On 14.
The wrong deer. But
yeah, sometimes it happens like that.
Yeah.
But at least it wasn't 4 of the wrong deer.
Yeah.
It was just 1.
Just today, I was going through looking at all those dead heads in the shop, and I was like,
Dang it.
man, this is crazy.
But the thing is if you look at it, though, we still have 4 shooters on 1,400 acres. I mean,
And more showing up daily.
yeah, I mean, but we're talking, when we say shooters, we're talking 6-year-old plus deer.
Yeah.
Deer that are maxed out. There's no more potential in those deer. Bowser.
Deer that have been
Long
going
brown.
downhill for the last 2 years.
I mean, we have downhill deer. It's crazy, but
Yeah. Definitely need to do some shooting out there.
Fixing to start tomorrow.
yeah, me and Tristan are headed there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, so I guess we have a couple upcoming targets as far as deer go. I mean, Brock, you're hunting a very familiar face for me and Jesse and you.
Long bro. We've all passed them.
We all passed him. Should we have?
Probably not.
Every year we're like, yes, he's going to get bigger.
He made it. He showed back up. Is that him?
He's 10 inches smaller.
Yeah, son of a buck.
For a
He
second
broke
year in a
his
row.
4 again.
Yeah, he never makes it to season with his 4.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, all 3 have it. I mean, Long Brow, Bowser, Big Mac.
He
Big
might
Mac.
shoot Bowser
Maybe
tomorrow.
vice versa.
Hey,
Yeah.
he might shoot Bowser and Big Mac.
The only one here that's got the short end of the stick.
What do you got?
I got a dude I call Thor who seems to be either dead or a ghost. So,
Yeah,
It would help if your farm had food on it.
yeah, I can't plant food on it. Got very hard hunting neighbors. I got the size to the farm, but I don't have anything else that's going my way. So,
You've got the cover and you've got acres.
I got plenty of cover, plenty of bedding. Yeah, I don't know. I hunted 13 days in a row with no luck, so that's not a good sign.
It's not that you didn't see him though.
No, I saw him several times. Yeah.
In fact, didn't you almost like run over him or run into him or something?
Yeah, I was driving the truck and he's 50 yards in my headlights fighting my other target buck.
Nice.
Sunset. So
Nice.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, no.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
Until they ran away.
Well,
I don't know. We'll see. I'll find out. I'll find something to shoot. We'll
Best
see.
part of the season's still coming, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I guess let's talk about just the goals of the channel as far as just, where do we see this going? What's the goals for the next couple of years? Obviously impact the younger generation. I think that's our number one goal is to, touch these people because I think hunting is a dying sport. PETA's coming after us. Like there's a lot of people in the world that think hunting is the worst thing ever, and I want people to know that there's a lot deeper than just going and killing an animal. There's so much more that we do for every animal on the farm as far as being habitat managers. And I think that's where we come in a little bit different than some of these guys. Now, a lot of these guys are still all doing that. Their deer herds are happy, healthy, fed all the time. But
We believe we figured out the problem coming from what looked like something somebody's cat would do to a cord. And it was
was just
Tanner's
me.
chair that was hungry and chewed us up a pretty good cord. So I think we've got it figured out now. Like I said, the 5 other times we tried redoing this, it's our first time. And we are obviously having a problem. So I think we got it figured out.
working out the kinks, that's for sure.
That's right. Or working in the kinks of the cord.
Or working the kinks out of the cords.
Whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're going to try. We filmed literally the last 15 minutes of the episode and no audio. So.
Yeah.
Anywho, back to what we were talking about. I believe it cut off somewhere around feed programs.
Yeah, so obviously we run a pretty crazy feed operation for it being the first year. We're doing 40 feeders basically a month on fill up. And we kind of jumped right into, where we saw the Stay Grounded channel going. What are the goals for the next couple of years? And, obviously I think part of that is to inspire. We definitely want to get the younger generation. It's a dying sport, I feel like. And bringing the younger generation in and showing them that they can do what we are doing. And I think people are quick to turn away from what we're doing at such an early age. And I just want it to be more inspiring to where the people watch what we do and think, how can I do some type of level of this? And hopefully to inspire kids to just ultimately get outdoors and go hunting and learn to, to chase after these animals, because I feel like it's so emotional for us too,
Oh yeah.
especially killing a deer is such a small part in what we do. It's years and years of history and growing them and holding them on the farms, and for it to all come down to one opportunity, it's almost sad. It's been that many years of history, and
Yeah. Through education, entertainment, which we already do. But I think there's going to be a lot more education, especially with the podcast coming, especially for the near future of the channel. I think we can touch on a lot more topics that actually would teach a young kid how to hunt and how to effectively hunt, and do stuff even without some of the equipment we have. And that was something else we talked about is, we've all been doing this our whole lives and have never had the proper equipment to actually effectively do a job until now. So, but I mean, that's where a lot of people still are. So I think,
we worked through the levels
Yeah.
that it's taken to build up to where we're at now, and we don't plan to slow down. We only plan to continue to take this to the next level. And the level we're at now is very high for our age and our experience, but I definitely feel like we have room to grow. And that being said, 2 to 3 years from now, I think a big goal is to work on your farm, Brock, and get that place it's already has bare bones and already producing giants, but to produce 200-inch deer. It's got
Consistently.
Yeah, and it's got the ability to do it. It's just us managing right, feeding right, setting the farm up right. And I think a big part of that has to do with being non-intrusive to these deer, letting them feel safe and comfortable.
Let it be their playground.
Yeah. And then obviously, us to pick up more ground and be able to, develop more ground, build more farms.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely another route we want to go down, and just spread out, continue to hunt new states and take this journey into uncharted territory. We went out and did Flair's farm, and that was fun. We got to see Nebraska. That was my first time in Nebraska. We got to see Nebraska, and it's just every place is different in its own ways. But
Yeah. Spread out with some species eventually too, maybe.
yeah, I went and did the access deer. That was fun.
Yeah.
This
I
year.
think there's going to be some elk in our near future, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
mule
so,
deer, elk.
The
yeah.
occasional thunder chicken.
Just
do
the
love to-
occasional, though.
I do love to chase
Occasional
a,
one, yes.
a thunder chicken.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, another part of this is just with I mean, you've mentioned like wicked ways of the world earlier, but like even just the changing world as far as the next generation, younger kids, I feel like a lot of stuff has shifted away from the outdoors. Like there's not near as many kids hunting with technology now and all that stuff. I think us
A lot
playing
of
part-
distractions.
Oh, plenty. Yeah. I think a lot of that, I guess a goal would be to tap back into that and show them that hunting is cool. And, you know,
There's
some
more
of the-
than there's also more than just sitting in a blind. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
if that's the part, there might be a kid that likes to hunt, but he'd have way more fun having a hobby out of manicuring and managing the property
Oh, yeah.
and seeing his fruitfulness of the work come to fruition. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a whole different, there's probably kids out there that whether they're into gardening, like that type of stuff could be so magnified on the scale of, even if your grandpa's got the back 10 acres of his pasture that he just does nothing with mow. I mean, you can literally take 10 acres of pasture ground and have 2 acres of food, 5 acres of bedding, some
Yep.
screening, some escancing. Like they're just being able to have somebody re-envision and see the blank canvas that they sometimes, more or less a lot of the time, have to work
Yeah.
with, and getting to make hunting more than just
It's just
going out and shooting
navigating a way to get yourself outdoors to experience what there is to offer. And for us, I think we do it to a completely different level because we are so caught up in the chase and the building and the multiple years of that deer living there, and then just like I said multiple times, the shooting part of the actual deer is like almost sad because you don't get to chase that animal anymore, and it's like, whoa, like we've had them for so long. And that's not the case with every deer. They're all different, which is
Oh, yeah.
what I think keeps you intrigued. Sometimes you shoot at random,
Yeah.
but then when you get to actually grow them and go through the whole process, it's just like you and me go this year. You walked up to it and you're like, man, I'm like,
Yeah, it was two days of that. Jim's the day before, the guy that just strictly managed, shot a deer that we had 4 years of history with. And I was sitting in the blind hunting Migo the night he shot. Like I think it was October 25th, and he texted me that he had shot him. In my mind, I was just kind of sitting there like, oh, I'm not going to get a picture of him tomorrow walking by the camera, or I'm not going to get the picture at 10:52 in the afternoon on a hot day going, man, what's he thinking right now? Like, why? What is making him do that?
Yeah.
And then the Migo, Migo was 4 years of making sure the food was there, making sure he was still alive, and then paying for a farm and to not hunt it. Like the pressure you left alone for that deer specifically in an environment where we've got so many outfitters that are that is partially what's ruining the area, but there's so many outside risks that you take letting a deer go, on top of having Mother Nature be literally the biggest factor as to letting a deer live or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was walking up on him was my own personal shock factor. Was kind of like, wow, that's the first deer we've got in the farm. Found his sheds every year but the 1 year. Passed him every year but the 1 year. Videoed him. And then I think I probably sat 10 or 15 times for him this year, and I got the hunt of hunts for him. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better hunt out of that deer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
well, I think you guys will be seeing, a lot more of this. And for those of you that want to take a deeper dive into, the strategies and what we're actually doing on a day-to-day basis, or just a deeper dive into the actual kills themselves, we're going to be able to put out, some more frequent, deep dives into what actually goes on behind the scenes. And, we threw this stuff out here and really put stuff out fast, and it blew up fast. And we were like, holy smokes, like, we want people to know us on a deeper level and almost feel like they have an intimate relationship with us as far as our successes, something that they're like, oh my gosh, did you see, so and so killed? Yes.
Yeah.
We want them to see, and even the older generation too. We want them to see that, we're
Want to be involved.
yeah,
Well, I think-
and supportive.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like I think we grew so fast that a lot of people didn't get to know us, and they started making assumptions that we've seen a little bit. Some of the comments, and some high fence comments, just people that don't know us. I mean, I think this will hopefully help. I mean, if the people have
See the purity.
the patience to watch us. I mean, we're open, we're honest and transparent. I mean, that's obviously our goal. But if this helps a little bit of people, make people enjoy watching us more, then that's kind of the goal. So.
Yeah, I think it was a successful first podcast. What do you think?
Been pretty good. I'm excited for the wide load one, my season, Ben's, getting people in here that have a different perspective on things, different experiences, different stories. We've got a pocket full of those. So
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where this takes us. It's just an extra channel. Obviously they're going to get to watch the video formats on the Stay Grounded channel.
Yep.
But you're going to get to watch Brock's farm evolve through this. You're going to get to watch our seasons and our accomplishments evolve, and our plans and ideas, our merch, just all this stuff is going to come to light. You're going to get the real scoop of it here, live as it happens.
It's all coming very quick.
Yep.
Hopefully we got some more deer dead before the next podcast too.
gun
be
season's
awesome.
tomorrow for Illinois.
Yep.
I have a gun tag, and our deer showed back up tonight.
So
Yeah.
thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. It was fun. Hope to see you guys back here on the next one.